Ladies and gentlemen, denizens of the internet, welcome back to the Deplorable Batcave. Tonight's host is brought to you by Kahlua, because booze makes everything better. Hashtag not sponsored. Tonight's special guests, from my left to my right, we have Liberty Blah.
In prison, I fell in love with my country.
Siwa.
Hello, all.
And marking a milestone for this channel, returning guest Kaleb.
Oh god, please get me out of here. Please, I beg you.
We're working on it, buddy. We'll get you out of there. The choppers are coming.
Oh my god, so good. I can't wait.
And in the peanut gallery, we have Gimpy, but no one cares anymore, so... And we have AK-47, your face.
Evening, folks. Sorry for any poor mic quality again this week. I tried to fix it. Don't know what's going on.
And
He's secretly
Bigfoot.
a synth. He doesn't want anyone to know.
And Bigfoot joining us today.
I would say something witty, but I wasn't that prepared.
All right. But, gentlemen, today's opening, we have to be somber here. We have to pay respects to a true American patriot. An existence that gave its life for our country to make this, both the constituents of Arizona and the country and the world a better place. So, gentlemen, fingers over the F key. Pay respects to John McCain's brain tumor.
Yes.
Courage is not the absence of fear, but the capacity to act despite our fears. I have a whole fear of McCain quotes.
That brain tumor saved America. God bless you, brain tumor.
It was a true patriot. The last bastion of patriotism from the Senate and from the representative of Arizona.
John McCain's brain tumor was braver than the troops, so there we go. Just want to put
Wait, hold it, guys. For a globalist, would patriotism be considered brain cancer?
Yes.
Yes.
That was the only parts of McCain left that was patriotic. Nice. That's all the patriotism finally amalgamated in one place. Killing.
Let's clarify one thing. He was not a baby. He was a tumor.
Yep.
But yes, we must dedicate this episode in memoriam for the patriot that was John McCain's brain tumor. Godspeed, brain tumor. Godspeed.
Will there now be a 21-gun salute?
Or a 21 syringe salute, whichever is more appropriate.
All right, I'll drink.
I've got a gun, but I don't want to fire them off in the house.
No, people will think you're from a Mexican compound.
I'm not. Neither do I have kids I want to train to kill people, so...
Technically, we've got enough people to pull off a 21-gun salute in this chat right now. Technically.
Actually, yes, we do.
Yep.
I mean, if only I had a gun, but...
Yeah, Blood doesn't have one either.
Yep.
Well, I have one that doesn't work.
Yeah, because you filled it with lead like a cock.
I didn't fill it with anything.
His nation filled it with iron.
Yes.
Destroying a historical artifact.
Speaking of funerals, topic one we're going to go into today is using funerals for political soapboxes. I'm referring, of course, to the McCain and Aretha Franklin funerals, where attendees they stood on the corpses to throw pot shots at Trump.
Who was happily tweeting away and golfing at the time.
Yes, he did not. He gave zero fucks.
Okay, so as anybody who's been paying attention to this at even the most remotest of terms, and thinking that, no, this is a national hero, you may dare not criticize him.
He's dead.
One must be solemn, one must be respectful, etc., etc.
No.
As Razor Fist, fuck you, Razor, so eloquently put it, it's not the media that called for this. It's not any branches of the establishment. It's McCain himself.
McCain made his own death political by refusing to step down and basically not doing his job for, at least 6 months?
And Jeff Flake's been on safari for the past year. So Arizona's not been represented in the Senate, period.
Yeah. So,
Well, I mean, we could go into the whole aspect of how he knew he had a terminal illness, yet still refused to budge.
on top of that, he denied it for months before
Years.
admitting to it.
Years.
Years.
Look,
Okay.
What FDR was to the presidency, McCain possibly is going to be that to the Senate.
We can only hope.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's been like 4 deaths or something like that so far. Of people hiding conditions in the Senate or something like that in the past 10 years.
For the more conspiratorially minded, there's the whole aspect that he hid this not just to hide any form of weakness, but to usher in his daughter as his replacement.
Well, or just handpicked successor, really.
Mm-hmm.
Which is exactly what happened here in Venezuela. So
Yeah.
look how that went for us.
Yeah, but not trying to sound funny, Caleb. Don't you expect that sort of neck of the woods?
Yeah. Political dynasties in the United States have gotten really, really hated by the public.
About damn time.
The Kennedys, the Roosevelts were the first, technically, even though Teddy was actually a pretty good president, all things considered. FDR kept us in depression. He was a couple of steps away from being America's Maduro, to be completely honest.
Oh God.
Yeah, he kept us in depression for about 10 years longer than it should have been.
Jesus.
Yeah, what pulled us out was us fighting Nazis.
Yeah, but then you get to the dynasties such as the Clintons,
Kennedys, the Clintons, the Bushes.
which, as far as I'm concerned, are two sides of the same coin.
And every state has their own political dynasties for their senators and congressmen. And
Actually,
those.
Apparently, there is a conspiracy theory that I can't verify or not that apparently Bill Clinton is a Kennedy, an illegitimate Kennedy.
I've heard that one before.
Yeah, likewise.
I would like to point out the power of historical revisionism when it comes to FDR, because we all were taught how good he was because he pulled us out of the Depression.
No, he didn't.
Well, he was
I know, I'm just saying we were.
Only the most left-wing of economists think that he was good for the economy. There
We
were
were
some
taught that
people.
in school.
Yeah, there were a lot of There is an argument that could be made that the stuff FDR did keep the nation at least partially unified against more extreme political ideologies been taking over. But the thing is, he was basically cleaning up his own mess. He was preventing his own mess from festering.
We're getting lost in the weeds again.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, this is about basically big name figures standing on corpses, even though in McCain's case it was done on purpose for political brownie points.
Mm-hmm. And what's so, in my view, because I remember this back during the events that led to the Iraq War back in 2003, this is an out-and-out war hawk. This is somebody who's reviled by the very people who have come out in droves to praise, to sing his praises. It's staggering. It really is. Even in this age where very little shocks me, it's staggering to see these same people have nothing but contempt for him and his ilk, yet are rushing to defend him and virtue signal.
And again, he set it up for it, but they're standing on his corpse to do so.
Yeah.
I mean, say what you will, man. Yeah, he's dead, but although I do agree with Razor here, since he decided to, hold on to that seat until the bitter fucking end and made sure his own death was political and served a purpose for his agenda, no, you don't get any fucking leeway.
No.
Fuck you, McCain.
No. I mean, I will say this, hands out. I don't wish what happened to him to anybody. It's a
Except
horrible
McCain.
thing to do.
I wish on McCain.
No, I don't wish that on any human being.
No, dude, it's the most horrible thing you can.
Testing. Hello.
Sorry.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
No?
I guess my internet hiccup there. Blip, I lost most of what you were saying.
Ah.
He basically said that his death does not shield him from criticism.
Yeah, but that also you don't wish that death on anyone, even your worst enemy.
No, I wouldn't.
I would because I can think of worse.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you do use Bob. The thing is, though, is that he probably felt justified in all this because it would lead to somehow to the blowback against Trump, and that somehow or other this would aid the blue wave. But how many here think that this is totally going to backfire, and that
something's going to come out at some point?
Let me finish the question, Seal. That people in general are going to see this for what it is. That it is completely sanctimonious. It is disgusting to watch. It really is. And that it's only going to fail in terms of his using this this situation to his own political advantage.
In Arizona, I see this backfiring because they are sick of his shit. They got sick of his shit.
Yeah.
And the GOP in general.
Maybe not the GOP in general, but they definitely got sick of McCain, who was definitely not from Arizona. Basically, he was a left wing. He was a Democrat plant in the Republican Party.
He was control opposition.
I won't call him left wing. I mean, again, look at his glee in pushing for the Iraq War.
Blip, do you forget that almost all of the Democrats voted for that as well? It was both parties. That wasn't a left-right issue. That was a Warhawk neocon-neolib issue versus...
That's a very good point.
Yeah,
That's a very good point.
Look, Blip, war doesn't have a political ideology. If only the right engaged in war, then the Nazis wouldn't have invaded anyone. The communists wouldn't have invaded anyone. The only people doing invading would have been probably the Catholic goddamn church.
It's a very good point because Tony Blair, at the time, Prime Minister, leader of the Labour Party, was very much George Bush Jr.'s stooge.
Yep. W.
Yet no repercussions. Do any of you remember the 45 minutes dossier? As in, Iraq had weapons of mass destruction and could launch them within 45 minutes?
Yep.
Europe?
Yep, I remember that.
Like a fart in the wind?
Yeah. Look, just kind of quickly go through the history. Though there was a lot of exaggeration by Western politicians, Iraq was not helping that situation.
We're getting lost in the reeds again.
They threw it on the inspector.
I do apologize. Yeah. No,
we're going back in time in my news show when we need to be focusing on the topic.
Yep.
So not only so John McCain is one thing, but Aretha Franklin, you're going to politicize a singer's death.
Was she involved in politics?
Not really, no.
Nothing really.
I can't think. I don't think she was at all, really.
But guys, you gotta do what you gotta do to own Trump because he's.
I mean, okay. Stevie Wonder used this opportunity to throw shade at Trump, who the previous week before the funeral opined that her death was caused by people denying climate change. Those were his exact words.
What did she die from?
Cancer.
Cow farts.
Okay,
What type of
cancer?
I don't recall offhand. I can look that up. But he's of the opinion that climate change and the people that deny it causes cancer.
Denying that cow farts blows holes in the ozone layer is what killed Aretha Franklin.
It's the Z-rays coming from Xenos, who's hiding in Mount Fuji.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, she was a civil rights activist back in the day.
There were still good people. There were still good people. She had pancreatic cancer.
Oh, damn, dude.
Cancer of the pancreas.
But yeah, like I said, Stevie Wonder blamed climate change on it.
He is blind.
And he also stated that at her funeral, I believe, on top of throwing shade at Trump.
Imagine if you were to put him in San Francisco and give him his sight back.
Okay.
Take it away!
Gentlemen,
Take it away!
fun fact. Scientists don't know exactly what causes most pancreatic cancers, but they have found several risk factors. Some of these risk factors are DNA. So this is more of a... I'm reading through it.
Your
Genes, heavily. Inherited mutation, acquired gene mutation, firstborn rather than having been inherited.
Zero.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, you're doing it again.
Look, climate change had nothing to do with her pancreatic cancer.
Thank you. So yeah, he was kind of like one of the big ones, but apparently Hillary Clinton was there. Yeah, a whole lot of big names, politically, celebrity. Yeah. Same thing of the other one with John McCain, where ironically enough, everybody that spoke at the McCain funeral was a Democrat.
Wow.
It really makes you think, huh?
Yeah.
What about the Bushes? Jeb Bush wasn't there to give a eulogy?
The Bushes were there, but again, I said Democrat.
Yeah.
But everyone who spoke was a Democrat. Is that what you're saying?
The Bushes are Democrats. I don't care what their party affiliation says. They were Democrats.
The only one that wasn't was probably Bush Sr., who was just kind of a generic neocon.
Actually, Bush Sr. is kind of scary because he was head of the CIA.
Yeah.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Wait, what? No.
Yes. Yes.
No.
Yes.
Breaking news by our own Bigfoot, folks. Apparently, there's a Change.org petition for ID software to give an official Alex Jones voiceover for Doom Guy.
Guys, I'm leaving the hangout. I'm going to sign this.
Man. Hey, hang on. How do I do this?
Click the link and sign.
Oh God, it's being signed fast.
And
Sign.
signed.
There we go. I mean, and even if it doesn't happen, you can just mod it on PC.
It's going to happen. We're going to break the conditioning.
It's inevitable. It's just gonna happen one way or another.
Well, this podcast came to a screeching halt.
Well, okay, but yeah, that had reason though. Okay,
Yeah.
All right, I guess we're kind of done with this one because we keep getting lost in the reads. But we're going to keep on the topic of America for a moment. So the controversy flew up over the basically Neil Armstrong movie First Man, over them omitting the American flag from the film, specifically of him planting the flag during the speech. And then they further went on to say that it was not America's achievement, but the world's achievement. It went beyond countries and borders. I'm paraphrasing a bit there, but
I mean, come on, dude.
Your package is what it is.
That's just nonsense, dude. Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was one country that did that.
well, no, it transcends borders and countries. So therefore, that Neil Armstrong was also Russian and Chinese.
And Chinese, even though there was a space race going on, and China, I believe, was up to its eyeballs in famine.
And he was also British and South African and Brazilian
And Venezuelan.
and Venezuelan
Nice. Fuck yeah.
all at the same time.
That's Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah,
This is Venezuelan space program.
How do people get a time to come up with this bullshit? Like,
So yeah, the director.
You want to know the answer to that, Caleb?
yeah.
By not having jobs.
Also, there's something that is being forgotten here. All of the NASA astronauts were members of the U.S. Armed Forces.
Yeah, there is that.
Which means they were all volunteers. We didn't have I don't think we had non-military astronauts till like the 80s.
No. Neil Armstrong was one of the test pilots of the X-15.
Yeah. And what was it? The guy who commanded, Apollo 13, he was a Navy pilot.
But, it also increases, because apparently it was mentioned, because another living legend came out to speak of this, where it was mentioned to him, he was added at Twitter, where basically they were trying to portray Neil Armstrong as basically a modern leftist, subtly anti-Trump, not a flag waver. And Blap, you want to tell everybody who jumped in on this and say that's not the Neil Armstrong I know?
Oh yes, one of the legends, and I'm not saying that lightly, absolute legends of aviation history, General Chuck Yeager. The man who broke the sound barrier in 1947.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What are we going to do? Call him a misogynist?
On top of that, there's where people saying there were actually people saying that Neil Armstrong wasn't trying to be an American hero, and cue parades with American flags and red, white, and blue confetti.
The meeting with Nixon at wherever where did they land? I think was it Houston, or did they get back to Cape Canaveral when after they were picked up? You know that famous scene where the president's sitting with them and they're in the modified Airstream per quarantine. They were talking to them while they were still in quarantine. They wanted to talk to these guys so quickly. They were in a modified Airstream, guys. And this shit was broadcast around the world.
So, yeah, this
was America spiking the football.
But the thing is, the directors are telling everybody, you can see this for yourself. See the powerful message that this movie brings to you. You can see it for yourself. I'm like, no thanks. We're sick. I think a lot of people are getting sick of this left-wing revisionist bullshit.
Look, were there a lot of non-American scientists involved in this project? Yes, but they were still working under NASA, which is an American agency. People forget that. Yeah, Operation Paperclip brought over a lot of very brilliant German scientists that helped jumpstart a lot of American industries.
Yeah, but who paid the bills? America.
Exactly, the United States. We claimed them.
Who organized everything?
If the United States wanted to do this thing as a world joint thing, first they would have made this a joint NATO operation first and foremost.
Seawell, just to interrupt. By the way, it was actually on the USS Hornet.
Oh,
they were in quarantine on the carrier,
and they brought the president to the aircraft carrier to talk with them.
Yeah.
They didn't even get on land. They put the president on a small plane that could land on a carrier. That should tell you how big this was of spiking the football.
But we're gonna move on from this bullshit into more funny bullshit. We're gonna move a little bit further north and talk about our neighbors in Canada.
America's hat.
So, let's see, where is it? Okay, there it is. So, the U.S. has been in trade talks with Canada. The trade talks for the week have ended with no agreement, no deal.
So what you're telling me is Canada's about to spin into total depression.
And Trump has just went on record on Twitter, no less, as saying, we don't have to work with Canada. NAFTA was a massive, massive mistake.
Yep.
And he's perfectly willing to work with Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico's working with him too.
So there's a good chance of cutting Canada out of the trade here.
Pretty much, yeah. Which means all of that Chinese steel, it's got no way to get into the U.S. without tariffs on it.
And Canada, they're screwed.
Well, there goes their oil, timber, metals, manufacturing. Yeah, that's all their industries.
Well, they still have one more industry, and that's diversity.
Does it make any money?
We'll get back to you on that.
Does it put food on the table of Canadian citizens?
Ditto.
So we're going to go with no, is the answer to that one.
Okay, so according to this, Canadian Foreign Minister is said in a press conference on Friday, we know that a win-win-win agreement is within reach. The government of Canada will not sign an agreement unless it's good for Canadians. However, she went on to add that the U.S. team has been negotiating in good faith and with goodwill, contradicting reports that the U.S. is trying to strong-arm Canada into accepting an unfavorable trade agreement. So fair negotiations are being made, nothing has happened, and Trump's saying, okay, you don't want a deal, we'll just work with Mexico, and bye, Justin.
So, is there a way for the people to force a snap election in Canada land?
I don't think we have any Canadians here.
Good. Canada, America's little brother that never moved out of Dad's basement.
Actually, no, it never moved out of Her Majesty's basement.
So basically,
Trudeau's 1982.
Wait. Basically, Trudeau's position is that if you trade with Trump, they win. If you secure a trade deal for your country, they win.
Yeah, look, guys like Ben Shapiro say that Trump works on a win-lose scenario. No, Trump works on a win-win scenario. He's a business guy. Almost all business guys you'll ever meet, they will rarely ever make a deal where it is a win-lose deal. You only do those as a last resort. The U.S. can make win-win-win trade deals where everyone benefits. The trick is, though, what other nations have been doing with the U.S. is we've kind of been I would call it a pressure release valve, but we've been just shoving money into other nations by exporting. And that money never recirculates in the U.S. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get more balanced trade deals so that the money comes back. And what happens is, over time, economies can specialize how free trade is supposed to work. So, like, for example, the U.S., let's say for whatever reason we become really good at making, I don't know, nail clippers. And China has a need for nail clippers, and they produce fuckloads of rubber tires. In the end, we trade nail clippers for rubber tires, in a sense.
Yes, but Trump getting in means the end of the world. Didn't you know that? How's unemployment doing again?
Lowest record in 20 years. Consumer confidence at a 40-year high.
Capitalist lies.
So apparently, Canada has a lot at stake in the fate of the NAFTA agreement. A complete revocation of NAFTA would cause a 2.2% decline in Canada's GDP. That's just a conservative estimate, apparently.
Go ahead.
Mexico's will fall by 1.8%, but the U.S. economy would suffer just a 0.22% decline by getting rid of NAFTA.
So we can eat it and still grow.
Yeah.
Basically, nothing of value gets lost for America.
Basically.
Yeah.
It might actually hurt. It might actually help because Trump's long been decrying NAFTA. All right, so I guess we can't really do much with that. Moving on for something a little bit more, also kind of kecky, but still a main topic. Beachbody Con.
Oh, yeah.
The con balloon has flown, and it was Beachbody ready. Although I'm pretty sure CityCon wanted to take a knife to it.
So,
John McCain's tumor just migrated to Sadiq's chest by the looks of that balloon.
You're not far off, actually. Sadiq Khan did try to put a number of restrictions not long before the actual day, which was actually yesterday, the timing was changed from, I believe it was 1 p.m., which is a fairly convenient time for most people. It was changed to 9:30 in the morning. So that way, I guess they could be seen as being amenable to allowing the event to go ahead, whilst causing as much disruption as possible.
Because that's around rush hour.
No, because it's Saturday. Most people are not going to be at work. They're going to be in bed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he was fucked either way.
Yeah.
So if you go back to the beginning of the crowdfunding, if he was going to try to block it, it would be so obviously hypocritical, given that he allowed the Trump event to go ahead on his words, the basis of free speech. And by allowing it to go ahead, it shows everyone to be the complete prick that he is anyway.
And hurt feelings are no reason to stop free speech.
Well,
that's a common sense point of view. That's not a left-wing point of view.
No, those were literally his words, though.
We know full well he doesn't believe that.
I know he doesn't, but that's still what he said about the Trump.
I know, but he got hoisted on his own petard. I don't think he expected anybody to actually get this balloon up.
Yeah, he thought it would fall flat because, oh, we're a diverse, modern metro city. No, you done angered the internet, son. You're lucky 4chan hasn't decided challenge accepted for something.
So, apparently people at the event were wearing shirts that said, "Make London safe again."
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Well, the basis for this event was to draw attention to the absolute pandemonium that London has become. The absolutely soaring rate of knife and acid attacks, which is... It has become absurd.
The fact that you guys actually have to delineate acid attacks as separate from other crime should be terrifying.
It is, and there's very little defense against something like that, and the injuries...
It's called not going outside.
Sorry?
It's called not going outside and just being a neat.
Well, the people that tend to do this, Bigfoot, tend to be those of a...
Asian background.
An Asian background. And ultimately,
I understand.
This is something that they would want to inflict because it causes terror. If people are too scared to go outside their homes because they're worried about having acid shoved into their face, well, they've won. They've created terror.
And this is where people like me step in and offer the solution. One might say the final solution to all your problems.
Oof.
Let's keep the edginess below full on poll today.
That's a blunt statement, Sewell. I can't find it, but I saw this ridiculous assertion that somehow the Sadiq cunt balloon was sexist.
Yeah. In what way? I mean, I thought the UK was all about free speech and diversity. And, I mean, just like Venezuela, but
Well, okay, let's face it, Caleb. Free speech and diversity don't mix.
I know that, I know that.
Well, you can have diverse opinions, which is arguably diversity, but yeah, we're talking about.
But don't you fucking dare to have this set of opinions, because you will be, a racist and a misogynist and a bigot and blah, etc.
These guys, I hate this argument they make of, well, if you allow free speech, fascists will use it to promote their ideology. Well, then you counter that by using your own free speech to promote your own ideology and let the best idea win.
Yeah.
You mean your communist ideology?
Actually, ironically enough, it was a leftist that posted this on Twitter. And I just, like, you guys have no idea what you just unleashed with this statement. It's not the best idea that wins, it's the best marketed idea that wins. The one that gets shouted the loudest through social media. I'm like, oh, you stupid motherfucker for calling out your own shit.
And actually, that's arguable because the thing is, the idea still has to be implemented. If the idea cannot be implemented successfully, then it failed. All you did was cause millions of deaths to prove you wrong.
That's irrelevant because they can't be because they have the virtue signal.
Yeah.
But
virtue.
But at any rate, I'll see what else was there. There was something else along those lines that I saw. Was that it? No. No. Oh, speaking of left-wing ideologies, I can squeeze this in real quick. So, the giant blueberry that is Detroit. The schools have turned off their drinking water.
Why did?
Because there's too much lead in the water.
Oh fuck!
They're turning the freaking kids dead.
In a 21st century major city in a first world nation, there's too much lead in the water and public schools to drink.
Dude, holy fuck! I mean, I understand doing that here in Venezuela because it's basically asking for it if you do that shit here. But come on, it's America. I mean, Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah, but it is a thing.
Okay, I found the tweet. Raheem placed it. Basically, Mashable posted that if you're cracking a political joke, make sure women. Let me find the actual article. Make sure women and LGBTQ people are the punchline. This is with regard to the balloon. Apparently, the Sadiq Cunt balloon is rank misogyny dressed up as a political statement.
I saw something earlier that based on that, the whole misogyny thing, that kind of made me go, what the fuck? Apparently, there's a list of things you can't call trans people. One of those terms is transgendered.
Warning, these nuts may contain nuts.
I just blinked and like, what? How?
Warning, this acid is acidic. Warning, fire burns.
So, yeah, at that point I was just like, what the fuck ever. And one more bit on as a side note, left-wing media is claiming that all criticism that crazy-eyed Ocasio-Cortez faces is just gender discrimination.
Guys, it's not 2014 anymore. It doesn't work.
Speaking of left-wing media, CNN, CNN, you I don't have words. So apparently Antifa is an African-American organization.
I mean, they do dress in black.
Well, they hail from Wakanda.
Oh. Well, we can say this, that most of the male Antifa guys will be raising their girlfriend's black children.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, come on. How many of those men do you think are going to be actually reproducing successfully?
Don't speak to me or my wife's son ever again.
Oh, it's glory. Can you give a bit of context to what exactly was said, Spark?
So
the three people who actually pay attention to this hangout.
So apparently, CNN was trying to defend Antifa, saying it's diverse. saying that it's a primarily anti-fascist African-American organization.
They also say that because they are anti-fascists, they totally didn't do nothing, and that any violence that comes from them is completely justified because they're fighting hate. Guys,
there's that.
You do realize that the communists in Nazi Germany, well, before it was Nazi Germany, late Weimar Republic, they were they were just as violent as the Nazis, using the exact same tactics. It's just the Nazis won in the end.
But here's the thing. Not even 3 hours later, the mugshots for all the Antifa people that got arrested over the last year were released. Newsflash, over 90% of them are white.
So what you're telling me is this organization has less ethnic diversity than the KKK and the neo-Nazis combined.
Actually, I can guarantee it has less diversity than the neo-Nazis. Because I've seen, Filipino neo-Nazis.
Hell, I believe there was...
there was even an Egyptian one.
There was a quarter Native American dude that was part of the Aryan Brotherhood in prison.
So, yeah, we've got that.
Wow.
But, yeah, CNN just... They're not even trying anymore.
The pooch has successfully been screwed.
CNN.
Just remember, this is the same organization. They're the only ones that are allowed to handle news and information at all.
Okay.
Yes, it's illegal for us to look at it.
Okay, fun fact about classified information that gets leaked out to the public.
It's leaked out to the public.
There's only one group of people that it's illegal for it to view, and those are people with security clearances, funnily enough. If you do not have a need to know with security clearance, you should not seek out that information.
We've spoken about that before, Sewell.
Yeah.
It's good.
The cat's out of the bag, that's that.
Yeah. So only a very small percentage of the United States is actually barred from viewing that information on WikiLeaks. And that's if it's classified. That's not if it's internal party memos from the DNC. That stuff, that's completely public.
But to keep in touch with CNN and left-wing media, Don Lemon shit the bed again.
And where was the toilet paper to clean this mess up?
In Stephen Colbert's mouth.
Not in Venezuela for sure.
It was Stephen Colbert's tongue because he was busy just eating that shit up.
Well, if we sent you Colbert, would that help you guys out down in Venezuela for your toilet paper shortage problem?
No, because they would eat Colbert.
Yeah. But they get sick and die.
Dios mío, the indigestion.
Montezuma's revenge.
But anyway, so Don Lemon and Stephen Colbert went on and on about, stuff about the border. Their opinion is that all this fuss about border, it comes from white people in border states afraid to lose their privilege.
I'm going to go more with the crime issue, the sheer cost of illegal aliens, which is the legal term for them. That is the legal term.
Illegal aliens have never carried out any crimes.
I would like to point you to that poor girl that just got herself fucking killed by a stalker.
Sewell, they have committed a crime in lieu of being an illegal alien.
Yeah. I'm not including. I'm excluding the whole violating our sovereignty.
I don't.
Yeah.
They're committing a crime just by being here.
I know, but I'm going with the crimes related to that because they're physically here when those crimes shouldn't have happened because they wouldn't have been here. I'm talking about the crimes that are committed after the initial crime was committed.
Okay. Kardashians did nothing wrong. Anyway.
No, they did a lot wrong. They didn't finish the fucking job.
But anyway, so yeah, I mean, and even on that story, like you brought up, apparently the girl in question, ironically enough, was open borders, pro-migration, hashtag loves Trump's hate, that kind of shit. Her family spoke out that way. I'm like,
Yeah, that reminds me of the poor Swedish girl that was in that video where she was fucking a black migrant singing the Swedish national anthem. And she was then found, I think, dead about a month later, raped and beaten, shoved in between a couple of rocks, and it was an American black that married a Somali migrant.
Yeah, wasn't there this is a while back, a daughter of an ambassador or some official in Germany who was working to help migrants and then was killed?
No, it was an EU Parliament member. Okay. It was his daughter. Yeah.
But just recently in the news, was it yesterday? There was a protest in Germany over citizens who'd been killed by illegals. It's just getting ridiculous.
Well, Blip, let's go to history. You guys know what was the true spark of the First World War, right? The assassination of Archduke Ferdinand in Serbia. Mm-hmm. You know what is funny? If it wasn't him who was assassinated, the war wouldn't have been sparked by that, because he was a guy that believed in Serbian sovereignty. He was the only voice in Austria.
It's a bit of a wrap because the war was inevitable.
The war was inevitable, but it wouldn't have been sparked by that. It wouldn't have been sparked.
So it would have been sparked by something else.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter.
But it wouldn't have been sparked in Serbia.
Well, the thing is, pre-World War I Europe was just a clusterfuck of alliances.
Yeah, the Concert of Europe, as it was called. They got lucky for about 50 years that they got really good statesmen, like Bismarck, who were able to keep that system going.
Yeah, but you had essentially empires that were gearing towards war.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is not a relevant aspect. It was going to happen anyway.
The argument is...
Sewall?
Yeah.
Stop. You're doing it again.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just saying that when these open board people are killed by migrants, it's not just one piece of evidence, it's two pieces of evidence that push people against the open borders position and actually push people toward the close the borders, fuck off, we're full philosophy.
Oh yeah, especially by those who have been hit by it the hardest.
The problem is now.
No, I'm talking to the normies who haven't decided yet.
Yeah, I'm talking about normies. I'm talking about normies who've lost family members through various things.
And again, it's not the normies or even the open borders people that are the problem. It's the commissars. I'm sorry. I mean the elected officials that are the problem.
Yeah. Yep.
Those are the problem, especially the ones that can stand as an elected official of the people of Germany and declare that, removing native Germans, having native Germans disappear is a good thing.
Yes.
On live national television.
Green Party hag. I don't think it was live. I don't know.
It was broadcast.
It was a parliamentary debate. Yeah. AK, you've been remarkably quiet. Do you have anything to add to the topic?
I'm terrified that my mic is horrible. So.
I can hear you.
I know. It's just I remember looking at the hangout last time. It sounded like I was clipping like crazy. I don't know why.
We're used to it.
Well, audience is not.
We don't have an audience.
Fair enough.
Oh, so this just got. I'm perusing the Twitters as I do. Jack Posobiec just retweeted an old tweet from a rather famous person. You may or may not have heard of him. A little man named Buzz Aldrin. Happy Flag Day. My salute to the American flag on the moon was my proudest moment.
Ooh.
Made 2 years ago.
Who said that?
Buzz Aldrin.
Second man on the moon.
Yeah.
Have some apples, Ryan Gosling.
But yeah.
Anything to add?
Let's see. Anything else on the twatters before I go into Keck or Cringe? Was there any other topics? No, that really was it. All right, I guess we can go into Keck or Cringe mode then. So, Keck, In-N-Out Burger is about to see massive profits, and we all know it. For those who don't know,
In-N-Out, the official burger of the Trump 2020 re-election campaign.
For those who don't know, it was apparently uncovered, quote unquote, that In-N-Out Burger contributes to their local GOP in California.
Let me guess, they also contribute to the local Democrat Party.
If they do, it wasn't brought up.
Yeah. Hey, lefty politics guys, you do realize a lot of companies give both sides craploads of money for influence, right?
But yeah, so there's another hashtag boycott campaign going on right now, and apparently there's In-N-Out Burger are seeing like ridiculous amounts of traffic right now.
Holy shit, dude.
From what I've been hearing, apparently, and I'm sorry this is going to hurt you a little bit, Caleb. Apparently, like lines at the door, drive-thrus wrapping around the building.
Holy fuck. Damn. That's a line I love to do for them burgers. Yeah.
All for fairly generic, fairly okay fries, and I would say a decent burger for fast food. I've been there before. I grew up in California. They're not bad. They definitely declined in quality in recent years, but hey.
Hey man, I still call it gut tier if I try it.
well for you, that's like eating at the Ritz.
It's all right, Sewell. The last burger he had was from an elephant.
Another kick. I actually found this article, asked Blop about it. It's from a source called The Spectator, which, according to Blop, is a credible news source. It's center-right, but still acknowledged. The headlines...
We've only got about 8 minutes left.
Noted. Yeah. The headlines what got me. Millennials aren't taking offense. They're hunting for victims.
Gotta catch the oppression points. Gotta catch 'em all.
In a recent column, I vowed to return to a point made in passing. To refresh your memory, the American magazine The Nation printed a formal apology for running a harmless 14-line poem by a white writer about homelessness. The poet sins using the word cripple and adopting a voice lightly evoking what I gather we're now to call AVE, African American Vernacular English.
You mean Ebonics?
Basically. Facebookers were incensed, comments huffy, and the poet was to apologize too. I decried this ritual progressive self-abasedness as cowardly and undignified. But it's worth taking a second look into that story as a prime example of screaming emotional fraudulence in the public sphere. Employing today's prescribed lexicon, these apologies regretted the pain, harm, and offense this sad-ass little poem caused to the stricken communities. But let's get real now. None of these poetry readers felt any pain. Do you remember pain? Physical pain? Actual pain? Drop a brick on your foot in sandals? Kind of pain? Yeah, that's pain. No one suffered any harm, either tangible or psychic. Why, I wager that these irate chiders in the peanut gallery were no more genuinely offended than the magazine editors doing damage control were genuinely sorry. What is the real emotional experience of pouncing on minor infractions of rules right on activists seem to be making up as they go along, at which only proliferate and grow more exacting the more cravenly the rest of us obey the last ones? Nothing short of exhilaration. Crusaders relish locating another paper dragon to slay. In the guise of suffering and woundedness, the overriding emotion in call-out culture is a sensation of triumph. So basically, this article, which is apparently a credible news source, is saying what we've been saying. They're not really offended. They're just looking for another dragon to slay.
Yeah, the perpetually offended.
Play the dragon.
Yeah. The perpetually offended.
Thank your father.
The perpetually offended, they need something to be offended by. They don't know how to exist without it, which is actually very bad for them because that is how you go learn helplessness.
Yes, dude.
Which means, well, they're going to be almost completely useless once the goodwill is run out. They will basically have nowhere else to go but the homeless shelter.
Mm-hmm.
And those are already over full because of their philosophies.
Well, then they'll have to start making segregated ones, which females can enter the male ones because, we can't have men-only spaces, but men can enter the female ones because protected class. That's how it works.
Yep.
You can either be a protected class or you can be an equal citizen. Your choice.
Speaking of citizenry, so about Mueller's probe. So 2 prosecutors tasked with investigating allegations of possible collusion between Russia and the Trump administration, campaign at the time, during the election, they left the office.
Yeah, that's not good. They know this shit show is the shit show's wheels are falling off.
According to sources, they're trying to paint them as relatively junior members of the team are no longer directly from Mueller. In a statement to CNN, Special Counsel spokesperson Peter Carr affirmed both prosecutors did not exit the probe due to misconduct or perceived political bias, but refused to provide further details surrounding their departures.
Yeah, those guys are leaving because they realized this was bullshit.
They don't want to go down with the ship.
Yeah, they're the rats.
Apparently one of them joined Mueller's office directly. Some moved over on detail from other parts of the Justice Department. But, yeah. Yeah, so it looks... especially considering that big bombshell that was supposed to hit on, yesterday? Never happened.
Which bombshell?
There was supposed to be a bombshell regarding something that Mueller's been doing. Which one was it? Roger Stone? Something was supposed to hit yesterday, but nothing. Fizzled.
Yeah. Okay, it sounds like... Yeah, sounds like a bunch of hoopla. It sounds like the media got baited again, and they took it.
It also seems like everybody that Mueller is investigating weighs less than a duck.
Yeah.
It weighs less than his brain.
I mean, sure, Manafort got convicted on finance crimes from a decade ago. I'm not surprised. The rest was mistrialed. So,
yeah,
and I've got a feeling he's going to appeal that, and the appeal has probably a good chance of overturning it because of the very shitty evidence that was presented and the arguments made.
Mm-hmm. And I got one more thing I can throw out here. This was handed to me, posted in the chat. Pope urges action against emergency ocean pollution amid church sex abuse scandal. Ignore the dumpster fire, save the ocean.
Popey, can I call you Popey? I'm going to call you Popey.
I call him the chief replacement.
I recommend resignation or early entry into the great beyond at this point. And I recommend we get a Deus Vault motherfucker in there. He'll clean up the house.
One of the finest comments I've seen on Francis has been his description of the Obama of popes.
God damn it, dude.
That cuts deep.
Mm-hmm.
At least Obama had a teleprompter.
Got him.
Well, Pope Francis is too busy literally kissing the feet of Muslims to look at the teleprompter.
They're not Muslims. They're migrants. They're potential rocket scientists, brain surgeons.
Better the Muslims than the kids.
All right, for those news update for those interested in the petition for Alex Jones and Doom Eternal. It's over 100 signatures now. It's over halfway to his initial goal.
Yep.
Break the conditioning. I'm keeping an eye on that just because.
Destroy the child.
And,
It's gonna happen one way or another, dude. You just know.
Yeah, we can hope.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, there is one more from the LA Times. California lawmakers approve a gun seizure bill in response to the Parkland shooting. Little late there, Skippy.
Also, this is going to be abused, and that is not good, and also it's probably going to get overturned by the courts.
In response to California lawmakers on Tuesday sent the governor a bill that would allow teachers, employers, and co-workers to ask judges to remove guns from people they see as a danger to the public. Who's going to define that?
Don't worry, Goyam. We got this. We got this. Blip, you know exactly who to take guns away, right? Right?
No, I live in a country where the gun's pretty much taken away already.
Blip, I am making a certain group of people control the world joke and know best for everyone.
Oh, yes.
Nah.
Obviously, the people that need to take away the guns are the ones that never used them. Except now they do, because Antifa's calling for armed resistance.
Yes, but gun-free zones work.
I think it's in
The gun sees functioning in those zones.
Yeah, I think almost all the mass shooters that we've caught in recent years alive said that, yeah, I targeted that because I knew no one would shoot back.
That's a right-wing lie.
Why don't you go talk to the mass shooters yourself? A lot of them are still in jail.
They're right-wing. They're perpetuating the lie.
They're sexist and misogynist.
Actually, I'm not going to say no to that one, but they're also noodle-wristed soy boys that you guys created.
Again, about millennials hunting victims.
I'm sorry, the last shooting that kind of happened was just... I think that was the most pathetic one of the lot.
Mm.
I lost at Madden. I'm going to shoot people.
Yeah, I'm quite pleased with Dank's assessment. Bitch boys.
Yeah. Look,
I mean,
I'm almost at the point where I think the government should be legally... it should be total blackout on their identity. It is illegal to broadcast their identity. And then the government goes in and just destroys everything that was them. Records are sealed. Records are burned. Their online presence is scrubbed. They never existed. And we just use numbers. And we just use numbers.
See, when you make it illegal, then there's the whole notoriety aspect.
But if you
don't know who they are, how is it going to spread? If that information gets scrubbed.
You're creating black baggers.
Yeah, for people who are committing heinous crimes specifically to
That's
get attention.
Irrelevant.
So we give them nothing that they want.
You add even more incentive for that, Seawall.
The instant you do that, you're creating an agency that can then change its powers as future politicians dictate. And we do not want an agency with that kind of power.
Okay.
We already have enough problems with the DEA.
Yep. Look, I'm just getting tired of this shit, and the media agencies aren't going to be the better people and stop doing it.
Okay.
Should we close this off, Spot?
Yeah, we should. All right, closing thoughts, gentlemen. Blibbity blop.
Finest McCain quotes.
Oh my god.
You know why Chelsea Clinton is ugly? Because Janet Reno is our father.
Oof. Oof. I felt that one. Ow.
That one's got some kick to it.
Seawall.
I would say live long and prosper, but Star Trek is dead. I would say may the force be with you, but Star Wars is dead. So,
frack. Just say frack. We're done.
Fuck it. There's nothing left. I guess anime is the only thing left to watch these days.
As long as it isn't from CalArts.
Exactly.
Of course.
Kaleb?
Oh God, for the love of God, please help me get the fuck out of here. I beg. I'm begging you, dude.
Don't worry, Shar. I'm sorry. We're sending you Hyakushiki.
Yes, done. Just want to fly away from this place before I get arrested for hate speech or some bullshit.
Blip, use your IDF connections, man. Come on.
Yeah, man.
Working on it, but try and get a helicopter that has a floor as well.
Well, look, just put him in the co-pilot seat. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
That doesn't have a floor either.
Oh God.
AK?
All right, I have to keep muting my mic just in case I clip through anything. But hello, folks. Sorry I've been quiet this whole time. It's been fun to listen to everybody. Those are my closing statements.
Okay, and Bigfoot.
Night, everyone.
Wow, you've been really subdued tonight, my dude.
Yeah. My roommate's trying to sleep, so I'm just being a bit quiet.
Okay. Shoot him in the head, and he won't bother you anymore.
Yeah, I've just been on a bit of a black pill this week, so.
Never take the black pill. What have we said? Take the red pill, not the black pill.
I know. It was just kind of hard when it was like a forced suppository at that point.
He has a penchant for licorice.
Ugh.
And my closing thoughts. Today's episode brought to you by Kahlua Mudslide. Rum and coffee the core. 12.5% alcohol. Conveniently in a 1.75 liter bottle. Drink responsibly or don't. I don't give a fuck. I'm not your mother. Later.